Sky Howdy, and welcome back to another episode of World Bigfoot Radio. Hey, Big Sky Howdy, and welcome back to the show again with us tonight. First time guest and spouse of superhero and legend Robin McCray is the also superhero and legend Pat McCray. And it's going to be fun having him with us on the show for the first time. Welcome to World Bigfoot Radio, Pat.
Pleased to be here.
Nice to have you here finally. You know, I keep hearing all this legendary stuff from Robin about all the stuff that you're doing all the time, and occasionally I get to talk to you and get updates on it. And yeah, you don't have a boring life.
No, it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, literally.
Yeah,
it is.
They never give you a break.
No, it's either you're dealing with animals, Bigfoot, ETs, it's and you know, the foot that we talked to when I first, he told me, he goes, I think he said, into effect of, I hope you're ready.
Nobody's ever ready for that, or the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah.
But the one of the things maybe all the listeners don't know is that you and Robin have a place that's got like animal rescue. So you have tons of different animals around there, which also seems to attract the attention of the local Sasquatch, who seem to find that very interesting and amusing, and probably keep an even closer eye on your place because of it.
She likes, they like the Great Pyrenees. She's white. I'm next door at the next door neighbor, and they're calling her. I literally hear them calling my dog's name. Freya, Freya, and they're calling her. They like her. When she was a puppy, we would be in the dining room, okay? And she would literally be under the table, and she's seeing something. I have no idea what she's seeing. It must have been a Bigfoot or something. She was literally terrified. And there'd be times where she didn't want to come into the kitchen. I mean, she would avoid it. There had to have been something there, that she sees and we don't.
Mm-hmm.
And they've told Robin, and they've told me that, there was a foot. We have our garage door, okay, and we had just fixed it, and someone had went on the outside of the door and pushed in, and they bent the door, and caused all sorts of trouble. And he said through mindspeak that he liked the white dog, and he wanted to see her, and so he was messing around with the garage door. And I told him, I said, just go in the back door. And I mean, a lot of people think I'm crazy, your mind speaking with Bigfoot. I always tell Robin, I said, my gosh, we're talking to people, things that, heck, we can't even see them, and we kind of chuckle about it, I mean, but when you think about it, it's kind of weird, but.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to the beginning with you. When did you first become aware that there was such a thing as a Bigfoot?
I had always, in high school and stuff, I would go ahead and I'd go to the library and I'd look up Bigfoot stuff, but I never put 2 and 2 together equals Bigfoot. You know what I mean? So I got on Facebook, and I was getting in these groups and stuff, and I just wanted information. So I was talking to this one guy. I used to live in Indiana, in South Bend. And so, well, anyway, he had contacted this one lady. Well, the lady contacted him and said, well, she had some activity on her her land. And she had like a gated section of land where you go there and you'd open the gate and go on in. Well, she said she saw, she said she saw a huge gorilla looking up from the hill at her. So I called my friend, and I said, well, can I have her number? So I went ahead and I called, and basically I asked the lady, I said, well, hey, could I, I was so close. It's like maybe a half hour, 40 minutes away. That's pretty close. It's in Warsaw, outside Warsaw.
Yeah.
Indiana.
Well, half an hour drive is a lot closer than my main research area. So well, yeah, it's close.
Yeah, it's close. I'm sitting there, wow, that'd be something, because I never did something like this before. I said, wow. So she said, yeah, you can come down only on the weekends. And I think she said every other weekend or something like that. I didn't want to come down every weekend. So it's every other weekend. So the first time I went down there, I went down with my brother, and we had a wood knock. This is like my first time. And then I took a picture. And months later, I didn't realize that there was something in the picture. You could see him. I think it was a Bigfoot, a youngster. Well, anyway, and then the second time we went there, we saw a huge black cloud up in the forest. And we're still in the car. We haven't even gotten out of the car yet. And I'm looking up there. I go, did you see that? She saw it too. But her husband was with us. He was an absolute skeptic. He didn't believe. He thought everything that we're looking at was hogwash. And he didn't see it. He didn't see anything, matter of fact. So, I mean, the big thing that I saw, I saw like these statues. These are in the woods. They were black statues. And this is an indoctrination into, I guess, the Bigfoot world. But needless to say, this is how it went. And this one time I went up there, I told them, I said, hey, let me go up there alone. I tried to do different things. I had a gifting log and stuff like that. I would put food and stuff out. So
go back up to the black statues. What are these black statues you're talking about?
I would see it. See how I can describe it. It's like they're little bit like waist high from there on up, and they were totally black, and they had like jewels inside, like attached to the statue. That's the only way I can describe it. It looked like a statue. And they were in the forest. I saw one, and it was really weird looking. And I told them, I said, my God, I just saw this statue or something. It's the only way I could describe it, as a statue, And I never did figure out what it really was. And I assume that something black is, it's not that good. I mean, light colors are good and black colors are bad. So I assumed it was bad. And I just didn't figure out what it was. But anyway, I had told them one time, I said, well, let me go ahead and go up alone up into the wood. So when you go in, there's like a gate, and you come in, and you see all the woods ahead of you. It's like a trail that goes up a kind of an incline, and you go up and you go in to the woods, and there's like a circular path, and it leads you back to where you started, where you first came in.
Right, just a
So
loop trail.
Yeah, loop trail. So I went in there, and I'm like walking around and mind my own business. And then I get almost back to where I was when I first came in, to the beginning of the loop. And there was this black hole on my right-hand side, and it kept following me. I'm sitting there, what the hell is this? And I'm like kind of inching my way over, I'm sitting there looking at it. I'm saying, holy shit. And I'm moving with it. I'm trying to not have it touch me or anything. And then something, I don't know how I saw it, something shot out of it. And I saw it. And it shot ahead in the trail. And it was like pear-shaped. And how it usually happens is you see something for a second, it's gone. And that's exactly what happened. And it was a portal. And Robin said, and I agree with her, I'm lucky, because if maybe I stepped in it, I would have been gone. So,
yeah, but what the heck shot out of it and zoomed ahead of you on the trail?
It was smaller. It was pear-shaped. It shot ahead. There was like a little road. You could bring your car up there if you wanted to. And there was the road. It shot ahead and was up on the road. And it appeared, and then it disappeared. So it's kind of a creepy place.
Kind of, yeah. None of that sounds really Bigfooty, though. Sounds like haunted forest stuff. It doesn't really sound like Bigfoot.
Well, it was, but when I would drive up there, I'd see them. I would see them. They'd be like on the side of the road. How I would see them, they'd be blacked out. I know this for a fact, because one day I went up, and there was a trail that went up to a washout. Okay, I'm up there, and I see like just a little person about the size maybe of a 4 or 5 year old.
You saw this little guy that's the size of a 4 or 5 year old, and he was totally blacked out.
Yeah, like you got a cookie cutter, but it's like totally dark and black, and you can't see him, but you can see him move. And this is what I saw. And I'm looking up above him, and he's walking away from me. And I don't think he knew I saw him. I really don't. I think a lot of these younger Bigfoot, what they do is they're not really skilled in cloaking, and they just can't cloak 100%. So I'm looking down at him, and he's climbing down to the washout, and I'm looking right at him, and I'm seeing him move, and he's blacked out still. And he goes down, and he walks down the washout, and he's gone. That's basically sometimes how I see him. I mean, I've seen him physically. I mean, sometimes me and Robin, you'll see an arm. Like, I'm in the dining room, and one night came by. I saw an arm walk by
Just the arm.
an arm, and the windows are like they're really off the ground. They're like maybe about 5-6 feet off the ground. His arm was like at the mid-range, the middle of the window, and he must have been just huge and tall. So, that's one for the books right there. I've seen, they've come in, and on the other side, the other window, he came right to the window. I saw him. He was transparent. You could see right through him. He had big eyes. Kind of had an afro. I know he's a youngster because he just got up to the bottom of the window, and he wasn't tall. Now, the Bigfoots that come by our bedroom window, they have to squat to look into the window. They're so tall. So that's why I say this was a youngster, a adolescent.
Mm-hmm. I know you have lots of activity around there because we've had Robin talking about that a lot of times. What other places have you been where you run into stuff? Besides Nebraska when we were there.
Well, we went to Tennessee. Now check this out. We were in Tennessee, talking about portals again. And it was Janice Carter and her boyfriend, Dave. They were in the lead car. We were right. I was driving right behind them. Okay. And then basically what happened was their car disappeared from sight. I told Robin, I said, where the hell is the freaking car at? Where is it? And it was gone. And all the other cars that were with us, they were gone too. Sitting there, we're going, holy shit. And then maybe about a minute or so later, they reappear. So there they are. They popped right back in. We were in a portal. They put us in a portal because basically I think somebody was following us. And they wanted to make sure that we weren't followed. Pretty wild.
Well, that's one way to do it.
Yeah,
so that's one way to do it.
Yeah, that sure is. A lot of the stuff, it's a lot. I've had stuff happen at work. I used to work at a place called Schindler Elevator.
Oh, yeah. I actually
Indiana.
worked for Schindler for a little while, too, many years ago.
They used to call him Swindler.
Yeah. You were on Schindler's List.
Yeah, Schindler's List. Anyway, I was over there. There's a lot of activity over there. They must have, I was really sometimes the only person in the whole place. I remember one time, like three females came up in the warehouse. And it's basically, they wanted me to do some portal work and stuff. I told them, I said, I couldn't do it. I can't do that. And they kept trying, and, Robin would tell them, he can't do it, and I couldn't. I've never opened a portal before. And when they appear, okay, it's almost like a haziness. So what I think they do is they can manipulate their vibration, and they can ramp up their vibration to a point where they disappear. They change their frequency.
Yeah.
And they're to the point they can bring it down, and you'll see them like an opaque image. and you'll see their color, but you won't see them. But they'll still be vibrating. And it'll be like a blurry image right in front of you. And they'll mind speak with you. And of course they wanted me to open a portal, and I told them I couldn't. And here's another instance. I was at my dad's house. Same thing, opaque image. And I knew there was a Bigfoot outside my dad's window. I'm cooking inside. And then what she says, she goes, what is that? This is mind speaking. And I go, well, I'm cooking dinner. I said, do you want some? She goes, oh yeah. I told her, I said, well, okay, I'll go ahead and I had a paper plate. I said, I'll go ahead and I'll put it under the bush outside. Next morning, plate was there. It was licked clean.
Licked clean, yeah.
Yeah, nothing was on it. I mean, it put a lot on there. She must have been hungry.
Well, they have amazing capacity to eat ridiculous amounts, so that wouldn't surprise me.
Well, yeah, I mean, you figure they're about 1,500 pounds. You need a lot of food to keep that going.
Yeah.
You know?
Even when they're littler, when Kevin was hanging around with Glag, and Glag was only about, 7 feet tall, he could eat a whole front quarter off a deer in one sitting easily.
Jeez. Good grief.
Yep, eating machines.
Yeah, I know.
He liked when Kevin would visit, because he liked to cook venison better. So after a while, he could catch the deer himself, and he'd just be fire, 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 and want Kevin to start a campfire so he could roast some of the venison, because it's yummier. And he wouldn't wait. He would actually eat a whole bunch of it raw while he was waiting for some of it to cook.
He would? Kevin?
No, Glag.
Oh yeah, I've talked to him before. He I won't go into that, but let's see other instances that I mean, our whole house, I mean, we've had the property it's a paranormal hotspot. It's got to be. I mean, above the garage, I came home one night at midnight, I mean, the UFO right above the garage.
Mm-hmm.
I called it the sports model, but man, it was slick. I mean, this thing was awesome. No rivet joints whatsoever. Just completely smooth. No lines, no nothing. And then once it saw me, it cloaked immediately. My Ryan, our son-in-law, Ryan, he went ahead and he had a video. I think everybody's seen that video.
Yeah, it's been on my channel. Actually, update on that one. After that, somebody filmed one, the exact same UFO, apparently, or at least same make and model, is the one that you filmed. And they got a much closer shot of it, and you can actually see through the viewports the occupants inside. And the video was taken in Turkey.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. they graze, you think, or
I don't know.
they
I haven't seen the video. I had a couple people tell me about it. The UFO guys.
oh,
They said, yeah, they got a video of the same UFO, same type at least, over in Turkey, and they got a much closer look at it. And there's viewports, and you can see people or something inside of it.
oh wow. As I was saying, I'll sit out in the porch sometimes. I'm talking about, the whole place, the paranormal hotspot, the front porch. And I'd done it before. I went out one day. I said, well, let me take a picture, and I'll take the picture. And then if I see something, I'll look immediately right where that is, kind of look in the picture and look and look. And there's absolutely nothing there, but there's something in the photo.
Mm-hmm.
It happens all the time. So I'll sit out. Usually, if you sit out on the front porch, you'll get something, or in the backyard. I've had times where I've been in the backyard, didn't think I got anything, but I did. You look, you got your little photo editor app, and you look, there they are.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just posted on my community tab on YouTube about not even a week ago, a couple pictures that you took. Get up in the morning, go off to work, open the front door. Hey, there's Bigfoot out there in the wood line. Snap pictures, get in the vehicle, go off to work. There's one peeking around a tree, and there's at least another one in the other picture that's way down ground level peeking out.
he's got way down on the bottom down. You can see his nose and his eyes.
Yeah.
He has black fur.
So first thing in the morning, you're going off to work. There's Bigfoot spying on you, watching you going off to work.
Well, check this out. Like, this is like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. So I used to work for the sandwich company. I won't say the name of the company, but I would go down to Paris Island and refill their sandwiches. So I'm coming up, and I go down the road, and I do a curve, and I'm like just getting out of the curve, and I'm in the curve, and I see something jump from the truck. I'm sitting there, and I'm looking. No, I'm not kidding. Something jumped from the truck.
What was it, on the roof of the truck or on the back of it, or where was it?
On the roof of the truck. I'm not kidding you. And it jumped from the truck. I saw it. So what happened was he didn't cloak fast enough. Okay. And he had jumped down. I saw his arms. They were long. He was kind of reddish brown, and he jumped down. I saw him, and then he cloaked. So, probably another youngster, or he just, kind of misinterpreted the jump and didn't cloak fast enough. I saw you.
Was he jumping to the inside of the curve or the outside?
Inside. He was on top of the
So
truck.
it was on purpose. He wasn't getting flung up by centrifugal force.
No. He jumped just to get off the truck. He didn't want to go where I was going. He jumped, and he didn't cloak quick enough, and I saw him.
That's
Stuff
hilarious.
like this happens all the time. Pictures, and I'm at my dad's house. There's this so much stuff happened there.
Did it die down much for the couple weeks that Robin was up in Michigan, or was it same level of activity as usual?
I didn't really notice anything. I was so busy working. When you get busy working and stuff like that, they come on the job too. Like that, they do. Check this out. Check it out. Okay, so I'm in Charleston. I'm at a stop. I pull up, and it was out in the woods. And I go on out, and I got the package for the people. And they come out and they get it. I hear this crack. It's distinct. It's just basically they break a branch like that.
Yeah.
I know it's that. I knew it. And usually what it is they want Robin to help them. And then I'm kind of like the secretary, so to speak. So they contact me and I'll contact her. It's like a protocol, I think, you know. But anyway, the foot needed some help, and he got help. There's this other time I'm over here at home, and I see this rock, the pebble. It's suspended in midair. I'm saying, what the frick is that?
What?
And I'm pulling up, and there's nothing behind it, just except open space. There's not even a tree. And then this rock, I see it, and it comes rushing toward the car windshield and hits it.
Oh.
I'm sitting there, what the heck? So he needed help too. That's some of the ways they get my attention. And a lot of times what'll happen is I've always told them, I always like names. I mean, sometimes they don't give their real name. I don't blame them. I mean, maybe they don't want to give it. And I won't say Bigfoot names and stuff like that. And, you know, I'll be maybe just mind my own business one day, and I'll hear I'll just make a hypothetical name, Pete. Come right through my mind, Pete. And it's a Bigfoot. I always tell them, I said, well, can I have your name, please? And they know that I want their name, so they say their name first.
So this is getting around. The protocol is getting around to the other ones now. Oh, if you want their help, you got to tell them your name first.
Well, that's what I told them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I always ask their name. It's always nice to have it. I mean, what are you going to do? Talk to somebody and say, well, hey, Mr. Nobody.
Yeah.
You need, it's better to have a name. You know what I'm saying?
Even if it's going to be like Joe Bob Smith or Ivan Got a Secret or I'm a pseudonym. Make up a name, you guys. Come on.
Well, a lot of times they'll use human names because they don't want to give their real name.
Yeah.
Just like when you call some of these Indian places, they say, hey, this is John Jones, and it's an Indian guy. So it's kind of like that. And let's see. I've had times where, like, I've been on the job. I told you a lot of this stuff happens on the job. And this is kind of wild. Okay, so it was a delivery job. So I went ahead and I'm driving. All of a sudden I see in my mind someone shooting off a shotgun. And I'm seeing it, I'm right in front of it. And this is what he showed me. And then I felt I wasn't in any danger of not being able to breathe or anything, but I actually felt his trouble being able to have trouble breathing. after he was shot in the chest. And he contacted me, and Robin helped him. I actually felt her healing the foot. I did. And that was the first. There's a lot of first in this. And I've been doing this for a little bit, and it keeps expanding, you know. Like for example, I always believed, even before any of this stuff, told myself, I said, there's got to be, when I look at a picture, there's got to be energy in that picture. And there's got to be a way of interacting with that energy in that picture. And sure enough, that's what it was. So you look, I was watching a Gaia, I'll just have an example of that. I was watching a Gaia show, and it was about motherships in outer space. This guy, he took photos of them, and you could see them. These are huge motherships. And so I thought to myself, wouldn't it be something if and I just told you, you could access like a photo or something like that. So what I did is I freezed it on the TV. And I focused on it. And in my mind, I'm going through stars. I'm not BSing or bullshitting about this. And I'm going through stars. I'm traveling through space. And then I get to the ship, and then I connect to two beings. I still remember him. It's a human that had a white beard and a mustache. And there was an ET. I connected to him. You always tell when you connect. It's just the feeling you get. And I connected. And I didn't really say anything. It's kind of neat connecting and like that. And I mean, a lot of people, some people say, the energy doesn't have any, the photo doesn't have any energy in it. I beg to differ, and this is Robin. When I
That's
first
what
met her.
actually going way, way, way back thousands of years. That's one of the laws of sympathetic magic. If you get a piece of something, or you have an image of something to focus on, you can reach it, control it, whatever else.
Well, yeah, there was a photo of a old hotel, and she goes, do you hear that? I go, what? She goes, the screaming. There was a fire at the hotel one day, and I heard it. There were people screaming. That's what I'm talking about. Like, you can feel the energy off the photo. I mean, maybe I'm making more than it is, but that's how I describe it. I mean, I
had a Bigfoot researcher that doesn't think about any of this weird paranormal stuff, but does get pictures of them. And he was looking at a picture that he had got that had a couple. He was pretty sure there was a couple in there. And he had it up on the computer, and he was staring at it and really paying attention to it. And he said, then their eyes started moving and looking at him. And then it started looking like they were moving closer to him. And he freaked out and turned the computer off.
Oh my God. It probably happened. That's no doubt. They, I've been out in the woods. They'll imitate. I was in Michigan. They imitated my voice. I heard my own voice talking back to me. Pretty wild.
Yeah. Yeah, Bear from the Bigfoot Outlaws always tells that story about when he was a kid. His, dad had called for the critters to come in at night, the cattle and stuff, and the dogs, and he had a specific call and everything. And then after his dad died, the Bigfoot out in the hills were doing it every night.
What were they doing?
Calling in the cattle and the dogs. Sounded exactly like his dad's voice for quite some time after his dad died.
Oh, wow. That's pretty neat. My dad, Robin told me, he told me he had dementia and stuff, and he had a pond in the backyard, and he told me he would see this big. He told me one day he said he saw this big dog out in the pond coming up from the water. No, come on, it's not a big dog. And Robin asked him. He says, "Well, they're just letting them see them because he's gonna pass pretty soon." I mean, he didn't pass right there and then, but heck, I don't know, maybe about 2 or 3 years after that. Got a lot of stuff happening at my dad's house.
How long have you been mind speaking? Been doing the mind speak thing?
I've been doing it for ever since in the woods. But the thing is I've always been doing it, but I believe this to be true. I never really realized I could do it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I just needed a push. And from that day, when I was in the woods and stuff, I can always tell, when someone's listening. Now, you're like in a room or something like that, and someone's like there and listening. It's kind of like that. I mean, you can feel them. And I asked a Bigfoot one time. I said, "Well, how do I know it's you?" And he goes, "You have to do it by feeling." And it's, sometimes I don't think I do it well, but I just do it maybe automatically. But you got to realize that when you mind speak, when you use telepathy, you put yourself at risk, because it's sort of like being on the internet. You can see that name come across the screen, but they'll say it's them. They'll say it's Joe Schmo,
Yeah,
but it's not. It's somebody else. That's how it is with mindspeak. A lot of people don't realize that.
It's also like a CB radio, because they can say their handle is whatever they want, and everybody's hearing it.
Exactly. Everyone's hearing it. And I had this one time where I'm asleep and I get into this, it's like a zone, I call it. You're in between sleep and awake. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
yeah.
So I'm seeing what I see, and I'm looking at something in my mind while I'm sleeping. Okay. And it's a dark cloud. And I knew I was in trouble. So I woke up. It's usually bad, something like that. So I woke up and there was this stuff, wouldn't leave me alone, coming in my mind. What the heck? So I got on the horn and I asked the Archangel Michael to help me out. And I never heard from them again. So he got rid of them. So if you're ever in dire straits, guys, Archangel Michael will help you. I'm serious.
He's got a +7 flaming two-handed sword that he can swat just about anything with.
Yeah.
So anyway, what? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go.
Well, I was going to say, since you've been able to mentally communicate with at least some entities, have you had mental communication with things other than Bigfoot that you know for sure were other than Bigfoot?
Yeah. So I'm in my car, and we had the old Impala, drive that around, and I'm in the Impala. I'm heading maybe to Walmart or something like that, and I hear this, like, just like that, in the back seat, and it was right in the car. I'm sitting there, what the heck? And I telepathy, I use that. I go, well, who is somebody there? He said his name, and he communicated with both of us. He said his name was Job, and something was trying to get him. So Robin said, well, hey, you can come in our house until you can go back to where you came from. And that's what he did. He stayed in our house until he could go home. And there was me and Robin, this maybe, I'd say a couple weeks later or something like that. We're in the Impala, and Job, he's on the front dashboard. And we know that because I saw him. He come off the dashboard, went in between the seats where the rest is for your arm, went over there and threw stuff around in the back, which you can physically see it and hear him doing it. Job looks like he's got, on the ends of his fingers, he's got these bulbs. Okay. He looks like a small monkey. I know this because one time I dozed off in the house one time. This is like over the weekend. I was just sitting on a chair and I dozed off and I felt myself floating. And I floated to a ship outside the window. And then I looked up and there was Job. What he did is he jumped on me. He was jumping for my face. And just at that instant, I woke up. So I think that was Job's attempt to show himself to me.
That's pretty creepy. Have you been contacted by
Why is it creepy?
oh, he's only jumping on your face.
Huh?
Jumping on your face.
Well, yeah, no, but it was like, now I can get into something like, you're out of your body, so to speak. You've got your body, which the ETs call and tell that it's a container, right? So this one night, it was like, I woke up. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning. So I wake up and then I drift back to sleep. And then I see myself being carried into the bedroom. And I'm carried and I'm placed on the bed on myself. And whoever did it bent down and kissed me on the cheek. And then I woke up. It's like that. I do that. And then there's nothing around because whoever brought me in is probably closed. So, just the thing with Job, I floated off somewhere to a ship. And that I'm out of my body, sort of like astral projection. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you can project your image or yourself to another location. Called astral projection. But you're really there. It's not like remote viewing. Remote viewing is like, I'll be talking to a foot or something like that, and I'll see him walking or something like that, or he's sitting. That's kind of remote viewing. You know what I'm saying? Astral projection is you're literally there, but you're out of your body. And the Foots do this all the time. I mean, I was at my dad's house. I don't know how they did this, but I'm at my dad's house, and I had a Bigfoot reach through the garage door, a closed garage door, and grab my leg. I don't know how he did it. He grabbed on somewhere. He didn't hurt me or anything. It's just like,
No.
holy shit. And he's right on the other side of the closed garage door. Really wild. I mean, they can come, forget about walls and stuff. They'll go right through the wall.
Yeah. So I tell anybody, if you're dealing with some entity that needs your permission to come into the house, it's not a Bigfoot. They can come right in if they want to.
They'll come right
physically
in.
or astrally.
Yeah. I mean, there's this one time where Robin, she woke up one day and she saw all these hundreds octagon shapes on the ceiling and the walls inside the house. And she told me about it. I forgot about it. Then one morning I woke up and I saw it too. And we still haven't figured that one out. You know, just wake up and you see all these shapes and they're on the ceiling, the walls. I've seen it maybe like 3 times so far. And I don't know whether it's the force fields or what, but you know, hundreds of octagon shapes.
Wow.
I mean, putting 2 + 2 together would be amazing if we can figure out what all this stuff is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's pretty baffling.
I mean, half the battle is not knowing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing, really. You see something. Well, why did that happen? I don't know. So you're left to assume or to try to figure it out yourself a lot of times.
Yeah.
Because you won't be told what just happened.
So both of you get contacted by, well, predominantly Bigfoot, and I presume other cryptids that need help from you.
Yeah, dogmen, Bigfoot, stuff like that.
Do you ever get threatened by bad ones that don't like you?
Well, I had this one time. I was just minding my own business. There's 2 instances. I'll do the first one first. I seen these humans. This is mentally in my mind. It's happening all the time. And they're hogtied. Sitting there, and it was almost diabolical how they were hogtied like that. And it had to have been another, you know, planet, or I'm looking at somewhere else. And it's been time. There's a sect of Bigfoot called the Eaters. It's not I guess it started with a G. People like to say that, but the Foots call them the Eaters. And I was
it starts with a G, Genosqua?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be the Eaters.
Well,
that's what they call them.
From what I understand, they're probably not pure blood Sasquatch. It sounds like they inbred with giants.
Maybe not.
And they're hybrids.
Maybe with Gugwe, I don't know.
Now, Gugwe, that sounds like that's a different thing. The Genosqua are gigantic. That's one of the reasons we think hybrid giants. Another thing is 2 rows of teeth, and the other thing is 6 digits. That's Nephilim attributes. And they seem to be between like 15, 20 feet tall, so they're bigger than your average Sasquatch is likely to ever get also.
Yeah.
So it would make sense if they were Nephilim Sasquatch hybrids, some bad Sasquatch inbred with the giants at some point, and poof, you got Genosqua.
This Nephilim thing is I've asked them before. They said they're not Nephilim. They said that the Nephilim crash landed on the earth.
Yeah, that's probably the same thing they call the Anunnaki. And I know that Bigfoot aren't the Nephilim. But what I'm saying is that Genosqua might be hybrids. because they show like Nephilim attributes plus Sasquatch attributes. They look like upscale Sasquatch with double rows of teeth, 6 digits, and like to eat humans. Well, those 3 attributes are Nephilim.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And that was the same thing with the we presume to be Nephilim giants at Lovelock Cave, the red-haired giants. They were, 12, 15 feet tall, but they had to burn them up in that cave. And they looked like giant white people with red hair. So that's not,
yeah.
that's what the Nephilim look like. Or the Kandahar giant. Same thing.
I read a story, the Denver airport, that some guy, he got in the elevator and he went down to a sub-level, just like pressed a button, and I took him down to the sub-level, and he had to use the restroom. So he went in this restroom, and there are these huge urinals. I mean, just massive. And they're like, 3-4 feet off the ground. He couldn't even reach the urinal.
I
mean, that I don't know. I mean, you see, like on some of I've seen some pictures of some of the presidential secret agents, Secret Service.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like 8 feet tall. I mean, who the heck is that?
Nephilim Secret Service.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what's going on with that. And then, like I said, the Kandahar giant and the giants in the Lovelock Cave here, and then other reports that leak in occasionally, like park rangers in Colorado getting killed by giants a couple months ago, park getting shut down, military going in, getting rid of the giants, and then opening the park again.
Yeah, supposedly, like in Tennessee, when we went up there, they've got a drawing on the rock, and says basically it shows what happened to the caves. They show a missile actually hit the caves, and the government, of course, they shot the missile at the caves and they killed. And they basically, there's no mountain left. We went over there. There was nothing there. I mean, it was totally gone. Trees were like all stacked up, they after whatever they did, and it was just wild, and you could tell that's what happened.
Wow. Yeah, like some of those daisy cutters, the fuel air explosives and stuff, that 16,000-pound bombs, use them for blowing up underground bunkers in Afghanistan and stuff.
Yeah.
That does a lot of damage when it goes off. Everything for about a mile goes splat.
Yeah. It's like a mini nuclear bomb, but it's not a nuclear bomb.
Pretty much, yeah. Yep, the Moab, massive ordnance airburst.
It's like, jeez. But I don't think they use the Moab there, there'd be nothing left. I mean, probably a cruise missile or just a missile.
You could drop another Moab and bounce the rubble. That's always fun. Drop a second one just for overkill fun. Bounce the rubble. Now, have you had contacts with any of the really, really nasty ones? How about like the Gugwe or the Janosqua?
Yeah, matter of fact, talking to Christy when I talked to a Gugwe.
And what did it say? Hi, I like peanut butter sandwiches.
Hated the Sasquatch. Hated them.
Why do they hate Sasquatch? Did he tell you?
Just as simple as they're in their territory, that type of thing. I mean, really, when you look at war, it just doesn't make any sense on Weber's doing. I mean, it's just over little things that it just doesn't matter. he was talking to Christy, and us talk. I heard him, and I know they can. Basically, Robin says they can track you, so I stopped talking to him.
Yeah.
Just track your energy trail.
I've been getting more and more of them invading the local Sasquatch area down there where she lives and attacking the Sasquatch.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
And then they get all upset about it, and they call in the reserves and stomp the crap out of all the Gugwe for a while until the invasion started up again.
Sort of like a guerrilla warfare.
Yeah.
You drive the other side crazy. You attack, then you don't for a while, and then you attack again, then you don't for a while. That's kind of how guerrilla warfare is. Drive the other side nuts.
Well, the world is much weirder than people think it is, and we are running long, so we need to cut it short here. But we can definitely have you on again in the future, and if nothing else, I'll be seeing you in Nebraska again next year.
Yeah, I'll be there.
We're probably staying at the same place with the same way too much activity, and when I go out to have a cigarette, the Bigfoot walk by the window.
Yeah, exactly. You can hear him out talking at the back.
Yeah.
Serious. You can hear him talking.
I know, it was ridiculous. I was sitting outside with Christy having cigs, and there was two of them back there she was talking to.
Well, I had talked to her. She's got this ability where I was like, she wanted to talk to me through Facebook Messenger for the video thing. And then she said she saw a young Bigfoot on my bed. Sitting there, I go, really? Yeah, she goes, he's right over there. And she said she's got, and I believe it, she's got an ability to see that. Did she ever tell you that?
No, everybody's got different abilities, I mean, like you guys can mind speak. She really can't do that. She can see them.
You're all it's all in a collective. Everybody can do what they can do, and this helps out the collective, so to speak.
Yeah. My magic power is I can click a button on a computer, so that's what I can do.
There you go.
Yay. All right, so we're going to cut out here, everybody. Thanks for staying with us. Hope you enjoyed the conversation with Pat here. Been trying to get it together to get him on for a while. Now I'm so backed up on guests. I'm just trying to catch up on everybody. But we appreciate you checking it out. I hope you'll be here for the next show.
Kind to everyone. Safety first, last, and always. Pay it forward. Don't be mean to people if you don't have to be. Don't flip off the mountain giant. Don't poke Dogman with a stick. Don't punt the puck, would you? And for God's sake, whatever you do, do not hug the Wookiee.